Hello and welcome to Cheetah TV. My name is Brian Badger from the Cheetah Conservation Fund. Now, carrying on with this series of videos looking at all the aspects that go into making up the holistic approach to conservation at the Cheetah Conservation Fund, both in Namibia and around the world. Today we're going to be looking at ecotourism. Now, ecotourism can be quite a bit of a minefield because that word is used so often that the finding a credible place to actually go that is ecotourism can be quite daunting. But the International Ecotourism Society have come up with a set of criteria and a true definition of what ecotourism is. It goes to say that the definition is a responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment, sustains the well-being of local people, and involves interpretation and education. And their criteria goes on, and it really does pick up individual aspects, all the way from the impact to the environment, right the way through to the involvement and the empowerment of the endemic people. So we're going to be talking from Namibia to Bianca Jacobs, who's the tourism manager for the Cheetah Conservation Fund. And she's going to be telling us all about our Cheetah View Lodge and all the bits and pieces that go on with ecotourism. But before that, just a reminder to like and subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share it among your friends as well. It really does help us grow. So without further ado, let's go across to Namibia and speak to Bianca. Oh, and don't forget, you can find out more about this and all the other projects that go on with the Cheetah Conservation Fund by visiting our website, and that is cheetah.org.
So hello, Bianca, and welcome, and thanks for joining us. Why don't you just introduce yourself to the viewers, please?
Hi, I'm Bianca. I'm Bianca Jacobs. I'm the tourism manager here at CCF.
Yeah. And thanks very much for sparing the time to join us. So, what are your main roles at CCF? What would you say your main roles are?
I usually take care of all the guests and all the queries. I do the bookings and together with exclusive reservations. My main role is to take care of guests when they are here and make sure that everything runs smooth, they attend to all the activities they want to, and that their stay is enjoyable and relaxing.
Well, I'm sure that's not an easy task sometimes, because I know that tourists can be a bit demanding sometimes. But when you're talking about visitors, are you talking about day visitors as well as overnight guests?
Definitely. All the day visitors that arrive, I try to say hi to most of them, or at least most of them that come during the day. Sometimes I miss one or two, but I definitely try and say hi to everyone and make sure that they had a good tour or so. And I definitely say hi to all the accommodation guests. I see them in the evenings just to check in with them again and make sure they are happy in their rooms. And in the mornings we say hi again just to confirm that they were enjoying their stay and that all the activities have been running smoothly.
That's great. So it's been quite an exciting time over the last few years at CCF with the new accommodation that we've managed to develop over there. Can you tell us a bit about the Cheetah View Lodge?
Of course, my favorite place. Cheetah View Lodge is a bit more modern. It's got 5 rooms. One is a family room. The others are 4 single or twin bedrooms. And they are a bit more modern style. They're very spacious. We do have air conditioning now there, which is supplied by solar power. So it's all good. It's still very eco-friendly. And yes, and we have a beautiful full view of the Waterberg when you sit down for a sundowner on our deck, which we have also a bit renovated now since we had time. We have a nice viewpoint where you can sit and relax.
So if people come and stay for a couple of nights at CCF, what type of activities would they would they expect?
Okay, normally Cheetah View Lodge is booked on a dinner bed and bed and breakfast basis. So you can book your activities as you go, or you can book in advance if you don't want to miss out on something. We do have Babson, which is also fully inclusive, so that goes on with the schedule. But while you're staying at Cheetah View Lodge, you can book either Cheetah Run in the morning, which happens at 8 o'clock normally, and that is where cheetahs run after a lure and get some exercise, well needed exercise, while you can have a look at them without a fence in between. You have a fencing where you stand in, it's about body height, which is quite nice. And then we have a cheetah drive, which goes out every hour on the hour. It goes into one of the cheetah enclosures where you also have a fence-free view with nice photo opportunities, with a guide that explains why they are there and why, unfortunately, they cannot be released back into the wild. Those are mostly our orphan cheetahs. We also have a daily tour, which is included in your stay if you stay at Cheetah View Lodge, center tour, which is about the museum, as well as you have a look at the introduction video. You have a guided walk around these facilities, and you meet the livestock guarding dogs as well as the model farm. And then, then we also have the behind the scenes, which is quite special because this is an opportunity where you go out with the cheetah keepers and you get to feed some of the orphan cheetahs, where they explain to you nicely. You have more of an interaction of this with the cheetah keepers and the people who actually take care of the cheetahs. You go at the back of a truck and you feed some meat to the cheetahs while they also get some exercise.
So when we are talking about overnight guests, be it for the Cheetah View Lodge or the Babson, when it comes to the evening time, what type of activities would people look forward to there?
So for the overnight guests, we have a special drive into our CCF reserve, which is a sundowner drive. It is led by one of our trained tour guides. They're very knowledgeable on what animals we have around. It's more of a nature drive than where you will see cheetahs. It is more with birds and the different type of bushes that we have, different type of grass that we have, as well as the antelopes. And maybe you'll be lucky and see some giraffe and ostrich. You'll also have a nice view of the waterbird, which is great when you stop in the Serengeti, we call it.
Yeah, and it's great with when you're out on the little Serengeti or the game drives, because again, and what I think is great is that again it's not contrived. You are out in nature. Nothing's guaranteed you see anything. I would be amazed if you didn't see anything, because I've never been on CCF land and not seen anything. But it's not a procession. So it's going out in unspoilt landscape and seeing Africa, especially when the sun goes down. Because I would expect they could expect to have a small beverage maybe when they're out on the Serengeti.
Yes. We put out a nice tablecloth with some drinks as well as some snacks, and maybe you'll even get a chance to taste some of the CCF cheese. Yeah.
It's very attractive, and you're making me very, very homesick, Bianca. So we know that CCF is a real conservation. It's not it wasn't built or designed in a way to be a tourist attraction. So the guests coming in are seeing real conservation taking place.
Definitely, yes. I always, mostly if I meet my guests, I always try and make them understand that I am the tourism manager and I love my job and I love my guests and I love everybody. But I also need to remind them that this is not just a tourist attraction. They do see full conservation in action and what we do daily, and that we have so many different departments that have so much to do with this whole tourism attraction, if they want to call it that way. But it's more than just tourism, it's all conservation as well.
And I'm sure that the tourism in itself is a form of education, because people will always go away learning something, and I think that's the secret of life, just learn something every day.
Yeah, the message they take along is much more than, oh, I saw a cheetah behind a fence. I hope they take the message along that these cheetahs are being cared for, because unfortunately they can't be released back into the wild. But we want to make a difference, and we want to have more in the wild.
Yeah, and we've spoken to some of the cheetah keepers and other people working in different departments, and they've obviously told us that the cheetahs that are suitable released are kept way away from any of the tourism vehicles, even when they come and go. The tourists, so we don't have to worry about cheetahs getting too used to tourists and visitors and vehicles and everything that goes along with that. So you talk about the tours and everything, and I know that you work with other departments as well, because obviously we want to show visitors as much as we can. But how many, or roughly, because I know it's difficult to grab a number out of the air, but you employ like local people on the tourism?
Yes, we do. We try to only have local people under tourism, because we feel it's a nice opportunity for them to also learn, as well as it's easy trainable. We can train people easier on a tourism level because it's service, and I think Namibians, we have it in our blood to serve people. So we are the serving type of people, and it's easy to show people how to do it. Sometimes we have a glitch here and there, but nothing we can't sort
out. Where would life be without glitches? That's why,
Exactly.
So you're a native Namibian, is that right?
Yes, I always say I'm born and bred Namibian. I grew up in Otjiwarongo. I was born in Ochu, but I grew up in Otjiwarongo. Stayed there all my life. Went for 2 years to Cape Town, studied hospitality and catering, and then decided to come back to my home Namibia, which is also Otjiwarongo, and I've been in the tourism industry about 14 years now.
So what attracted you to the CCF?
Lorry and cheetahs, I think. It was strange. We used to work for Africat, and obviously heard about cheetah conservation also a lot, because I grew up in Otjiwarongo, so we always knew about cheetah conservation. My dad used to talk about Lorry a lot, good things. So when I heard that they have a position available, I said to my husband, let's just go try. We'll see what happens. And we came for an interview, and we left very, very happy. Hoping that they were very happy, obviously, hearing that they wanted us. And it was about a week after we got the good news, and we just said, we're going, definitely going. It's our home now. We don't want to go away.
That's nice to hear. So obviously you working in the tourism industry and being a native Namibian, those two together, a lot of people haven't traveled to Namibia, and I have on several occasions, and I lived there for quite some time. I'm biased, and I'm sure you are too. And Namibia is such a fantastic country. If you could kind of name a few highlights of other things around Namibia that would be, that people could kind of work towards visiting.
Yeah, definitely there are 3 places I absolutely adore and love in Namibia. Etosha is one of the attractions that everybody loves, and we also love to see the wild cheetahs there and the wildlife and all the other types of wildlife. Definitely you'll be able to see some lions and some elephants, which is always great, as well as rhino. Then we love the Caprivi, which is also very close to us, or close to our hearts, just because it's so nice and it's a different world up there. So if you travel Namibia, I would say every 50 kilometers looks different. So you have to travel the whole of Namibia to make sure you know where. And then another place close to my heart is the northwest of Namibia, where we have the desert adapted lions and cheetahs and rhinos and elephants. So they are very endangered, we can say, and it's amazing to see them out there in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience.
Yeah, because it's again, you're more biased than me, but it's a very friendly country, and it's relatively easy to get around as well. So you're traveling long distances, and because, like you say, sometimes Namibia, I believe, is a bit misunderstood because it's described as a desert country, and people's idea of desert is just nothing. Like. There's different forms of desert. So I'm sure that when we see the pictures and see the videos, people start getting the bug and get back. So we're speaking in very strange times with COVID-19 and all the restrictions and the border closures. So how has it really affected the tourism department? I think it's an obvious question, but it's I'd like to hear it from you.
It's not been fun, I can say that. It's been hard. It's been harsh towards all the staff and everybody. We're also used to this is always having guests. We had in August last year, we had about 150 people, 100 to 150 people some days, and it was insanely crazy busy. It's been a big effect to now because obviously I had to change my whole type of how I do things because I need to do more paperwork now and I need to be more behind a computer and things. And I'm a people's person. I want to talk to people. I want to make sure they're fine. I want to be, even my staff, if I talk to them, they're like, oh, can't it get busy now? We need to have guests and we need to do something. We can't, obviously we do all the things that we normally don't get to do now. But we really miss being busy. We really, it's been hard. It's been harsh.
Yeah, I can imagine. And also, as far as CCF on a broader terms go, I mean, that was, it's a big source of income for CCF. And the tourism isn't done just for fun as well on CCF's end. So I know that it's had a huge impact on the income of CCF. And what are you going to do with all that goat cheese? It's like
the tourism supports about 1/3 of CCF's income, so it's been hard. It's been harsh on every department as well, because tourism also supports a lot of other people's wages and things. Every guest that comes here supports CCF. Every supports a cheetah, supports a person. So yeah, it's been a big effect on everyone. And like you say, the cheeses need to get sold, but I think we kind of got our foot into the door with the locals now, so we hope we can keep it that way.
Yeah, that's good, because you have to be very inventive in these times, and I know that everybody out there in Namibia has been as inventive as, or beyond expectations. Really, we're not just sitting back and complaining about it. We're being very proactive, and you have to think of different things to do, and what we're doing today is an example of that. We need to talk to people. That's
get people involved and let them know how we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned Babson House. That used to be the only really guest house, as it were. So when you with Cheetah View Lodge, do the two kind of marry up together, or is it a completely different experience?
I would say it's a complete different experience. Babson is quite, the activities, some of them are the same, but Babson is quite different because it's also decorated different. It's more African luxury style house. It's got fully inclusive spaces, which means you get a private chef, a private parking, a private house. The whole house is yours. You get private hosts and and private service of everything. Your activities are all private, so we create a full schedule for you of everything you're going to do. You're not going to rest when you're here, especially if it's only 3 nights. If you stay longer, you might get some rest. But if it's for 3 nights, we'll have 2 full days scheduled for you, not really resting. So yeah, and lots of activities we want to show, and you get the full insight of what CCF stands for and why we are here, and you get a full tour of each department, or almost each department that we have.
That's it's good to get that sort of comparison, and so we've seen images of both, and one's not bad and one's good. They're just different. It's just a different type of experience. So with the day visitors that come in, I mean, typically, how long is that day? Because I know that when you're traveling in, you have to allow time to arrive, and also time to get back to wherever they're staying on the next. So typically, how long would a day visitor stay at CCF?
Depending on what they're looking into do, if they're just there for a center tour, which is a tour of the facility and meeting some of our cheetahs as well as the livestock guarding dogs, and having a look into each department with the overview and stuff, I would say it's 45 minutes to, it can go up to 2 hours depending on how many questions they have. We also, with each center tour and cheetah drive, you have the feeding included. So if you're on time for the feeding, or if you want to wait for the feeding, which is normally at 2 p.m. in the afternoon on weekdays, and 12 over weekends, it can, some people stay up to 4 to 5 hours, but then they have the time to actually stay that long. The normal person would be, I would say, 1 hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, because I know that on organised tours, they come in on a bus. I know that it's almost time in it, not by us, but by the
guides also.
Yeah, so people that come in on their own steam or stay overnight will see so much more in a more relaxed way as well. That's great. Also, the guests that are staying overnight, either at Cheetah View Lodge or Babson, if they've got any particular interest, I don't know off the top of my head, maybe the veterinary side, or the the genetics, or things like that. Do you try your best to accommodate that if there's any particular requests?
Definitely. If we even if we just find out that they like pets, or maybe into genetics or so, we've asked them if they would like a personal tour or so, and we gladly arrange that for them if they would like to meet our geneticist or our vet, which is great. But it always makes it a bit more interesting for them as well to find out what we're really doing here. Just a note on that, like, I know at Cheetah View Lodge we don't do fully inclusive normally, but we do it on request. So if people want to stay at Cheetah View on a fully inclusive basis, with a schedule and everything, we do that. So it's just on request. We don't mind. Yeah.
So if it's a larger group, that would be a perfect sample of both worlds, as it were. The Babs staying at Cheetah View Lodge. That's good to know, because I know how organised some places are, and sometimes it's over-organised and it becomes inflexible. So it's great to hear that there is that flexibility to accommodate, almost individual requests whenever possible. We know on a day-to-day basis, sometimes things are not possible, and that's life, I'm afraid.
That's not good.
When you did come to CCF, did many things surprise you? Did you think that you knew everything, and then all of a sudden you think, wow, there's so much more?
For me, not really, being Namibian, it was perfect when we arrived. It was just because it's like a farm. In a way, it's like a farm as well, and we felt very at home. Me and my husband. When we arrived, we were just happy to feel that homely feeling. It's not where it's all like Russians, crazy and everything. You do still feel, oh wow, these people really care. And it was just great when we got here, and we love the farm setup. learning about, again, I grew up on a farm and things, but just different ways of farming and things. It's all, yeah, it was just interesting. It's, yeah, nice.
You make a very good point, because again, it's not fake. It's we know that the wild in Namibia is certainly to the greater extent is farmland. That's what it is. So and we operate the model farm, as well as the cattle branches of the farm and everything else. So people are getting that that real experience, rather than it's not contrived.
Yes, that is very important, I think.
A theme park, and you've got farm world, and then you go over to conservation world. It's
not at all.
No, that's good to know. So, Bianca, I know how busy you are, and I want to thank you very, very much for finding the time to come and visit us. We wish you all the best, and hopefully this horrible situation will rectify itself sooner rather than later, and you can do what makes you happy and what you do incredibly well, and that's looking after the guests at CCF. So, Bianca, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Brian, and thank you for inviting me. And yeah, just remember, Namibia stays in your blood once you visit it.
Fantastic.
If you want to learn more about that project or any of the projects that CCF are involved with, both in Namibia and around the world, and also to make a donation or to sponsor a livestock guardian dog or a resident cheetah, please visit our website at cheetah.org. Now, if you liked the video, please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. And you can also set the reminder for further episodes on Cheetah TV. Thanks very much for joining us, and I'll see you again next time.